The first time the helicopter blades thundered over the glass towers of downtown Seattle, everyone looked up except the man sweeping the marble floor below. In that moment, destiny hovered in the sky while pride stood on the ground, and no one yet understood how one careless laugh, one cruel test, and one hidden truth would collide to change lives forever. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of humility, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us that hearts can change when truth finally rises. Margaret Collins had built her life on precision and control. As the CEO of a fast-growing aerospace logistics company headquartered in the heart of the city, she was admired for her sharp decisions and feared for her icy standards. She wore tailored suits, walked with purpose, and measured people by what they could produce for her vision. To Margaret, weakness was inefficiency, and kindness was often mistaken for liability. Her office overlooked the helipad where company executives arrived like royalty, and from that height she felt untouchable, certain she had seen every kind of person worth knowing. Every morning at dawn, Nathan Brooks arrived through the service entrance with a janitor's cart and a quiet determination. He was in his mid-30s, broad-shouldered, with calm eyes that noticed details most people rushed past. He cleaned offices, polished floors, and fixed small things no one reported, all while keeping to himself. His uniform was always spotless, his movements unhurried, and his presence almost invisible. Few people knew his name. Fewer cared to learn it. To most, he was just another worker blending into the background of success. Margaret noticed Nathan one afternoon after a tense board meeting. Stress had sharpened her edges, and when she saw him carefully wiping fingerprints from the conference room glass, something in her snapped. She scoffed at the idea that someone like him could ever understand pressure or responsibility. In a moment of arrogance, she let her voice carry across the room, making a joke about ambition and ceiling heights. Her laughter echoed, and a few executives joined in, eager to align themselves with her authority. Nathan lowered his eyes and continued working, absorbing the insult without response. Days later, during a company showcase meant to impress potential investors, Margaret decided to entertain herself with a challenge she believed impossible. She announced, with smug confidence, that if the janitor could fly one of the company's helicopters during the upcoming demonstration, she would marry him on the spot. To her, it was an absurd statement, a performance of power meant to remind everyone of the hierarchy she ruled. Laughter followed again, louder this time. Nathan stood still, his face unreadable, while the words settled into the room like a dare wrapped in cruelty. What Margaret did not know was that Nathan's silence hid a past shaped by discipline, sacrifice, and loss. Years earlier, he had served as a decorated Army helicopter pilot, flying rescue missions in hostile terrain, saving lives under fire. After a tragic crash claimed his closest friend and left him carrying survivor's guilt, Nathan walked away from the skies he once loved. He left the military, declined honors, and chose anonymity over praise. Cleaning floors gave him peace. It allowed him to serve without being seen, to exist without reliving the weight of command. As the day of the demonstration approached, whispers moved through the building. Some employees felt uneasy about the CEO's joke, sensing something wrong beneath the humor. Nathan continued his routine, but inside him stirred a question he had long buried. He prayed quietly during breaks, asking for guidance, for clarity, for a sign that his past still had meaning beyond regret. The helicopter's distant hum awakened memories he had tried to forget, memories of faith tested and lives entrusted to his hands. The morning of the event arrived under a clear blue sky. Investors gathered on the rooftop, cameras ready, champagne chilled. Margaret stood confident and radiant, certain the spectacle would reinforce her dominance. When the time came, and the pilot prepared for a routine ascent, a sudden technical issue grounded the flight. Tension spread as schedules tightened and reputations hung in the balance. It was then that Nathan stepped forward, his voice calm, offering assistance without drama. Heads turned. Smiles faded. Margaret felt irritation rise at what she assumed was another overstep from someone who did not know his place. Against her expectations, desperation outweighed pride. With a dismissive nod, she allowed him near the aircraft, convinced nothing would come of it. Nathan moved with practiced ease, checking systems, adjusting controls, his hands steady and sure. The investors watched in confusion as the janitor climbed into the cockpit. Moments later, the engine roared to life, smooth and confident. The helicopter lifted gracefully into the air, cutting through doubt as cleanly as it cut through the wind. What followed was not just a flight, but a revelation. Nathan maneuvered the aircraft with precision and grace, executing complex patterns that left seasoned professionals stunned. The city stretched beneath him like a living map, and for the first time in years, he felt whole. Margaret stood frozen, her heart pounding, her certainty unraveling. The laughter she had inspired now turned into silence, thick with awe and shame. When the helicopter landed safely, applause erupted. Investors cheered, employees stared, and Margaret felt tears sting her eyes. The truth spilled out soon after, not through confrontation, but through quiet explanation. Nathan's past, his service, his faith, his choice to live humbly, all came into the light. Each detail struck Margaret harder than the last. She saw herself reflected in contrast, a woman who had everything yet understood so little about grace. In the weeks that followed, Margaret changed. Not overnight, but deliberately. She apologized publicly, not with excuses, but with humility. She offered Nathan opportunities he politely declined, choosing instead to remain where his heart felt called. Their connection grew not through power or promises, but through shared reflection and respect. Margaret began volunteering, listening more than speaking, learning the weight of words and the cost of arrogance. Nathan continued his work, but no longer unseen. People greeted him by name, inspired by his story and his quiet faith. Margaret often watched the helipad from her office, no longer seeing it as a symbol of status, but as a reminder of how close she came to missing what truly mattered. If this story has touched your heart, if it reminded you that true worth is often hidden behind the simplest roles, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe for more stories that speak to the soul. Before this story ends, we have one special request. Comment the word humility if you believe that kindness and faith can change even the hardest hearts. In the end, no wedding promise was needed to seal the lesson. Margaret learned that love is not earned through challenges or dares, but through respect and understanding. Nathan learned that his past was not a burden, but a gift meant to be revealed at the right moment. And somewhere above the city, as helicopters continued to rise and fall, a quieter miracle had already taken place on the ground, where pride bowed, faith endured, and grace took flight.